Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifigure host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? Episode 208. Still feels weird to say that there's a 2 in front of an episode, but my goodness, here we are yet again with another episode. Anyway, with that in mind, today I am giving you the final part. Mark and Steven, the winners of it all. You get to hear it all. You get to feel it all of Lego Masters US. And here's the thing. They are very, very intelligent guys. What they broke down as far as their builds and stuff like that was incredible. So I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just going to get right into it. So here we go.
Okay. Hey, Mark. Hey, Steven.
How's it going?
It's good to see you. I can say I knew you back when you won that competition for Beyond the Brick a few years ago, and we stayed together in Scareback. I mean,
Exactly.
I was absolutely thrilled to see you guys win last night. I was rooting for you the whole way. So excited by all your builds. First question that I have for you is, and it's been a question I've asked a lot of the contestants, even with the finale last night, there's 3 builds. You only get to see the actual creation that you made for like seconds. And I thought, I went back and watched it a couple times. I thought I could see extra things moving in the back of the sculpture that they didn't really highlight. Can you tell me some of the details about your build that we did not see on TV?
Okay, so the Warden had a lot going on, right? We had a lot of time, a lot of fun things. First of all, we had a theme, night and day, right? So we want fun stuff in the day, and we have fun stuff in the night. So one of the elements to highlight that, we had creatures, right? So on his left foot, it's hard to see, there's a frog. He has these little glowing red eyes that's next to the Warden's foot. We have some bunny rabbits that are only visible in the day, a woodpecker on his shoulder. We've got some fireflies in the back that have these program lights. They're blinking. They're kind of rotating, sort of like in a circle. There's 4 of them in one element. And those made it perfect for fireflies. We have moving water near his feet where the Warden's walking through the river. It's kind of troubling the water around him. Those are some of the details you couldn't quite see. But
on his back, he has several kind of medium-sized branches, kind of like a halo shape.
Mm-hmm.
And these are all powered by a series of gears on his back, and they all move very slowly and gently. As if he's kind of like sauntering through the woods.
Giving him it looks like he's walking almost, or swaying in time. There were a lot of details.
You see a little bit of that, but obviously they only have, seconds for each of the finale builds. So.
It's a long build and a very short runtime. What can I say?
Yeah, and along those lines, oh my goodness, I have so many questions for you. 24 hours is a long time for a build, and there's really no guidelines other than the day and night. How did you come up with the idea? And actually, how did you budget the time? How did you decide you're going to spend those 24 hours?
Well, how we came up with the Warden was pretty simple, right? So literally it was a Sunday. That was the day before the finale. And Mark literally knocks on my hotel room. He comes in and he says, "Hey, Steven." Yeah, I was like, "You wanted to make a tree man a while ago, right?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like, "So how about we make a tree man?" "Okay, we'll make a tree man." So that was literally the conversation. Like, "Yeah, we'll make a tree." Just decided within 5 minutes. Yeah, well, we had brainstormed a few ideas before, a couple episodes earlier, but nothing stuck. But we decided we'll make a tree man. But what's that? The second part.
And then the second part is timing and consolidation.
Yeah, that was it.
Basically, with that amount of time, it's like about double what we're getting used to in the Lego Masters format of around 12 or 8 hours, somewhere between there. So we're trying to think of something that's really big and much bigger than we normally would do for these challenges, but also not too big so you don't run out of time. Thankfully, ours landed quite nicely. I think we were pretty much done with most of the build at the 22-hour mark. And we still had about 2 hours to really kind of add some polishing details, little creatures all over. So timing wise, we really thought we got pretty good. Oh, there's always stuff we'd like to add at the end, but we got all the essentials in there.
Oh, fantastic. And I guess for my third question, and I might ask JC if I can email you questions later. For my third question, along the lines of details, you had a lot of details in yesterday's build or last night's build, but you've had many other builds since then. What build from the previous weeks? I mean, I remember your hanging brick challenge was fabulous. I loved your parade float. What build similar to the final build? What build do you think didn't get the appropriate attention on screen that you'd like to tell our readers about?
You're thinking of the same one I am. The haunted house from episode 10.
Yep.
Yeah, that had a lot of motion on it, almost as much as the World Series. No, it had more than that. But no, the haunted house for sure. We were really proud of that build. We had 7 different movements. We had a bunch of different nice part usages for the cups, that seed part challenge element.
And there was very limited time to see the final builds and the judging of that episode. There's a lot of fun time with Will, which is great.
A lot of fun time with Will.
We also really like to see the builds, so we would have loved to see more of our build and also the other builds from that episode too.
Yeah, but I do feel like that one got a little left out of the party, just a hair, even though it did win the challenge. That's the only one though, I think.
It was pretty good overall.
Yeah.
Most of the highlights are there. There's always that little touches here and there that miss the mark on some of those, but yeah.
Okay, great. And like I said, I'll probably take up JC, or hopefully JC will let me send you a few more questions later, but yeah, hope to room with you again at Scareback sometime. That would be a lot of fun, and we'll see you, now that I'm in the Midwest, I'll see you in some of these East Coast cons.
There you go.
Fantastic.
All right, congrats, guys. So rooting for you as well. Brick Fair buddies, I love seeing those pictures of you from Brick Fair, Alabama.
Exactly. Yeah.
First question was, we kind of saw some of the lighting, but what was it like working with that lighting? Because it didn't look like it was all standard Lego elements.
Yes. So we had a variety of lights to choose from. There was several bins of lighting that we could choose from when we got that challenge
right off the bat,
night and day. And we tried to use as much as possible, like anywhere it made sense, but yet still keep it carefully concealed behind transparent bricks or embedded in the build.
No light elements should be visible.
We wanted it to seem like the Lego itself was lighting. And then, some of the main features were a lot of lighting underneath the flat water surfaces, behind the waterfalls, in his legs, in his eyes.
Yeah.
So in his eyes in particular, we're using the powered up lights for like a headlight, like
the Technic Lights. They're the brightest ones by far.
Yeah. So we had 3 of those in each eye and try to really make it look like he had spotlights for his eyes. And
I will say the light elements specifically, a lot of them were just a typical $3 fairy lights. That's like a wire with LEDs glued to the elements. You can get them on Amazon for like $5, maybe for like 25 feet. We had like the 15-foot ones, and those are pretty useful for like the water elements and a couple others. A few third-party elements. We didn't want to highlight those too much because they weren't purely Lego, obviously. So we did obviously have Lego lights, but it was a mixture of both.
All right, awesome. Next question. For any of the challenges, if you could have added 2 extra hours onto your build, which would it have been?
Okay. Shake challenge, 100% the shake challenge. 8 hours is nothing. 100% the shake challenge. That was a nightmare. Oh man,
I got a better one.
You got a better one?
Okay, so on the land and sea challenge.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Oh, we only had 5 hours to build a creature for ourselves and 5 hours to somehow combine them and build a very big landscape that was 9 32 by 32 base plates, I believe. And so 5 hours to cover that surface is crazy. 5 hours to cover that surface and mash up something is even crazier. So 2 extra hours would have meant a much nicer build from each team.
Yeah, some more time. It was only 5 hours a piece. That's too much.
So yeah,
that's terrible.
Extremely aggravating.
So both of those could have done with some more time. I hope Fox is listening to that one. That was hard. Not gonna lie, that was very hard.
All right. Last question. So they really played up your rivalry with Caleb and Jacob throughout the show. I'm sure, we hear from everyone that you guys are everyone's just great friends. So what were some of the friendships you made, and, who do you say you were closest with by the end of the show?
Ooh, it's really hard to say who you were closest with. It's like saying which one of your children do you love the most?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Do you love more or something like that? But no, we bonded really quickly. But we did get to bond a little more as far as actual timing with Philip and Maria. We were van buddies for a while, and we sat next to each other in our holding areas. Our couches were very close to each other, so we could, carry a conversation a little more easily.
Yeah.
So we did, and they're from Michigan. Our mom is from Michigan. We could connect that way. But yeah, I think Philip and Maria just a little bit, but purely by coincidence. Not deliberate. So, yeah.
And then I think later in the season we were right next to Caleb and Jacob.
Yep.
And we also were like really
Playing up the drama, frenemies. That was another element.
But like truly friends, but also having a great time with our drama and our rivalry with the.
We were the drama of the show for a while. Yeah, it was.
It's all those floating islands.
It was floating islands.
All right. Well, congrats again. Looking forward to seeing you at Brick Fair or some other event in the future.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Mark and Steven, congratulations.
Thank you.
So excited to be talking to you both. I wanted to ask your thoughts. Your mom in the family segment said that she always knew how amazing you are, but now the whole world gets to see it. And so, now that the world has seen it and you've gotten to watch the show back, what's been the reaction like, especially coming off of the big win, with all of your close loved ones?
Go ahead.
It's been awesome. Just seeing everyone, they didn't know we won. So it's like the having them realize like, wow, they actually went all the way. I mean, they felt like, oh yeah, they're great at building, but there's that kind of nagging doubt that we'd actually make it all the way. So being able to see the light in their eyes. And we had a big watch party with our friends to see the final episode. So they were all just cheering so loud, and it was fantastic to interact with all of them.
And post show, we're getting all these even just messages from just random people on Facebook and Instagram, just these warm congratulations, and people we haven't talked to in a long time are coming out of the woodwork and saying like, "Great job, we've been following you." So it really is amazing. It's like winning the Super Bowl. It's wonderful.
Oh, that's so great. Obviously, when it comes to the progression, we saw a lot in your journey segment about the times you were humbled and how you've learned and matured. So, now like coming off the show and getting to watch it back, what would you say your takeaways are from the experience and those trials and tribulations along the way?
I think one of the things we really had to learn trial by fire was not only powered up motors, but also Technic. Steven and I had done minimal builds featuring these parts and elements and techniques. So we now are feeling pretty confident with our motion abilities after this whole season. So that's one thing we've really expounded on. And then also,
for me, it was color though. I really, I had tinkered around with power functions a bit, but color was really fun for me because I had done colorful stuff before, but I hadn't used a lot of like the pinks and the aquas and all the other crazy new colors that I'm a little more old school from. But Amy and Jamie really pushed that, and I'm glad they did, because now I'm doing a little more colorful stuff, really more playful elements, and it's refreshing.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely saw that evolve over the season. And then my final question is probably the one I have to imagine a lot of people are wondering. In the first episode, we heard that you guys had beat Tyler, the season 1 winner, in a contest at a Lego convention. He probably would hope he could say, well, at least I won Lego Masters and they didn't. He can't say that now. Are we going to have some sort of showdown, or something that we can expect from all of you guys?
No showdown.
I hope we never have to face
Tyler
please. In a challenge ever again.
He's our hero. He's our idol. I wouldn't want. I think he's one of the greatest Lego builders of all time. That whole scenario, when they heard about that, Fox was very excited because they knew that they could use that.
That's true.
It is true. It happened, but it was a very casual setting. It was with groups of people and stuff. It's a little more complicated than that, but it did happen. But maybe not to the same drama that you may have.
After this, we're not as super eager to go toe to toe with all our best friends and try and beat them in building. We're ready to just kind of
chill out,
have fun building things at our own pace. With a minimal competitive edge to it.
Keep that on the down low.
Well, that's great. And hopefully, it was so great to talk to you guys, and hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to you guys again soon.
Hi, guys. Congrats.
Thanks
I was curious, where do you draw your artistic inspiration for your builds?
Good question. A lot of it is your experiences, and I'll use the Warden as an example. So we grew up in Florida, right? And there's not a lot of fall colors down there. So when we go up to the mountains for vacations, we got to go to Tennessee and the Adirondacks and places to see the mountains and, the full autumn colors. It was amazing. And you really want to learn to capture those moments in your life. And that's why the Warden's got the brighter colors. You have the pink leaves and stuff, and the exaggerated atmosphere, exaggerated features and atmosphere of the creation. That's something that you can really tap into, those moments that really inspire you. A new experience is something that you really want to tap into.
And which of the builds over the season do you think was the most personal for the both of you?
So in episode 4 with the Hats Incredible Challenge, I got to wear that gigantic pirate hat and really just act very sassy and ridiculous, and it was so much fun. And honestly, all the teams had such a blast with that challenge, even if they had struggles with stability and whatnot. But it was that was just one of the funnest challenges, especially for me, being able to just be an absolute goofball on.
Yeah, I think you were a little nervous around the camera at first, just in the really beginning. You sounded like an anchor man, when you talked. It wasn't robotic. But after that challenge, I remember he's got a goofy side to him, so he really got to flesh that out. And after that, he was like, "I got this. Let's have fun," And then we're yelling with Caleb and Jacob. So it really broke the ice. I think really did with that challenge, and you killed it, man, on the runway.
You also had a great challenge too.
Oh yes, another personal thing for me. Holy cow! If you guys remember Billy Puppet, I don't know if you've been told, but Billy was voiced by Steve Whitmire, the voice of Kermit the Frog. So that was pretty awesome. We got to hang out with him for most of the day. I got to do a little bit with my puppet and his puppet. Didn't make it to air, but it's still there. I got pictures, and that was amazing. I love Bernie. That's my favorite challenge. And holy cow, that was amazing to meet your hero. So I could have gone home right there, honestly.
That's great. And then, so obviously, being on the show, it's a high pressure environment. There's a time limit. There's cameras everywhere. But is there anything about the experience that you miss now that you're building at home? Anything you wish you could kind of like bring into your own studio? And
so we do have a pretty good collection, but the Brick Pit is, revered for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
There's 5 million pieces. There's more 2x4s than you'll ever see in one place ever again. And it's just that kind of ability to build that kind of volume, especially so quickly. It's so nicely organized by a crew of about 30 or 40 people every night.
Whole team of people.
So that kind of building situation you'll probably never ever see again. And so that's just like something that I totally miss, even though it was stressful around the peripherals of that. So
yeah, I have the same here. It's the Brick Pit because all those you dark blue, so much dark blue and so much magenta, so much brown, all these colors you love so much, and they're harder to get harder to get in Lego sometimes. But yeah, playing with all those and building with all those was just, and not have to sort anything and your tables all so clean when you get back. It's just this is the living the life of it. For a Lego builder, that was paradise.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, Storm.
Mark and Steven, man, I'm so excited to see you guys here. I'll be honest, I didn't pick you as my winner from the beginning, so throw it back at me. It's okay, I get it. But my first question, I hopefully this hasn't been already asked. What are you guys going to do to reclaim the master title of Castle Bros?
Well, here's the thing. We're a little contested out almost. We're probably going to keep it more on the down low for a while at least. But the thing about that title, though, it is a little old fashioned for us. It's an old title. It goes back 5, 6, 7 years.
Like 2012, 11.
Yeah, something like that, way back. So that's when we really did only build Castle. But we build a lot of other stuff. I'm getting into Bionicle, and Mark's doing more sci-fi. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff, and we're getting into all these cool sets that we wouldn't be as interested in and stuff like that since Lego Masters. So it's kind of an outdated title, and we did replace it with something a little more exclusive, just so you know. But a rematch. Maybe, but we're not pushing it. We're not in a hurry.
We're not hunting them down actively right now.
We're not in a hurry.
But yeah, they now have the challenge of defending it from
whoever. Yeah,
they go to a convention, someone might call them out and say Castle Challenge right now.
Yeah, exactly. It can happen. I mean, it's like the Stanley Cup. It passes around now. We'll see.
That's awesome. So you guys have seen the highs and lows of this. What was it like when you guys gave over the golden brick and you're sitting there thinking oh man, I don't know how's this going to go? And ultimately you came out on top of that episode.
Yeah. So that was, we weren't sure where we would place in that challenge. All the houses it was a difficult challenge, and everyone did a very unique take.
We were stressed out at the beginning too. Very stressed.
We had a rough start to that challenge.
Yeah,
that being said, this was the last opportunity to use the golden brick. It was a use it or lose it situation.
For episode 10.
We were fine with this is when we have to use it. We held on to it as long as we could, and we felt really good about that. So we just want to make sure that our build it wasn't like an absolute failure. So that was the main stress of that challenge.
I will say we were a lot more nervous on the land and sea challenge, the challenge just before.
Yeah.
Because then the brick, we could use it, we could hold on to it, we could
Or
go home,
lose it.
or go home or whatever, because it's still, everything is still at that chance. We were genuinely nervous. That was the last minute, like 50-50 coin toss decision. I'm glad we held on to it. But yeah, honestly, the land and sea was when we were really thinking about it, because we didn't know.
Awesome. Last question. The way Fox edited the show last night, I'm thinking, okay, I really have no idea what's going down. You're there with Zach and Wayne. What is the feeling that is going on there? Because I couldn't read the expression on either of your faces. I was like, okay, what are they comfortable? Or are they not? What was the thought in the room there?
I was nervous for the Jamie sitting there with his little hands and glasses, like waiting for forever to tell us. Yeah, I was like, come on, man, just tell us. I was more nervous. This Hawkeye over here, this keen eagle eye, you didn't just see the.
Yeah, well, so a little hint. It didn't necessarily confirm anything, but I can see the minifigures on the statue. I mean, on the trophy, and ours are in the front. So unless they wanted our heads on a platter or something like that, it was a little suggestive. So I'm like, and I also felt very good about it.
You were more confident. That was.
So I'm like, I knew that they were considering the entire season in judging. So Zach Wayne had an amazing performance. Caleb and Jacob had a very strong late performance, and we had done quite well throughout this season. So it was like that is all weighing in your mind. I think I felt like our build was the superior one in this episode, but there was so much more to consider.
Yeah,
and, so
you were feeling more confident.
Yeah, I was less worried, although you never. And so Steven was like a legit,
I was a little spooked. I didn't know what to expect.
And then obviously you're not gonna be able to read us because we are like almost zombies at this point. We're just trying to stand up straight and not fall over. We're so tired after a 24-hour build challenge. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, and congratulations on a great success.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this, where we got some bonus questions to ask the awesome winners of Lego Masters Season 2 here in the United States.
Any fun behind the scenes moments or things that weren't captured on camera that you want to talk about? Little stories.
That was pizza. Oh, pizza. Oh yeah, that's a better one.
So, I have a very high metabolism and I like to eat a lot. And so I'd get hungry on set. I mean, they had granola bars and Gatorades and stuff that we could take a break and consume some calories, but I was just craving hamburgers on set. And so we have a hot mic, we're mic'd up. And so I'd be like, I really like hamburgers. They're awesome and they're great. And
really important people can hear that mic.
So, and then I'd start to ask the other contestants who are waiting to go on set, or anytime we had a microphone on, I'd be like, so Philip, what's your favorite type of hamburger? What ingredients do you like?
So, I'm a cheeseburger guy. I'm a cheeseburger guy.
After 2 or 3 days of this, everyone is thinking about hamburgers nonstop, and I'm just not letting up. And so eventually,
you start talking to the crew.
Yeah, I started talking to the producers and crew we were allowed to speak to, and eventually they literally bought out in McDonald's of all the hamburgers, and we came to the holding area, and there was just nothing but hamburgers and all different varieties and cheeseburgers. And then we're like, yes. So everyone's like, whoa! I think I had 3 or 4 that night.
I had
and
2.
That was after a day of filming. So,
but then not a few days later, he goes, "You know what's great? Pizza. Yeah, what's your favorite pizza?" It took a little while, but sure enough,
it was quicker this time.
A little bit quicker. We had a bunch of pizza waiting at the hotel, and then a few days later, he's like, "No, what's also great?" He's like, "Oh, let me guess, pizza, right?" Like, no, donuts. Next day we had donuts. They didn't even wait. Like, get them some donuts for here all day long.
Obviously, none of that is captured on camera, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, he was literally playing games with the producers. Yeah, what's really good?
I was hungry. I can't help it.
Really tasty. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if this was asked while I had my computer issues, but what are you going to do with the prize money?
Ooh, that's a great question. That's a very good question. We're going to try to be responsible.
Yes, we're at the stage in our lives. We're reaching out, growing, and I was looking at houses and saving up for a house before we got involved on Lego Masters. So that is going to contribute to me getting a place fund, and I'll be using that to get the ultimate Lego pad, basically. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind an off-roader, a little 4x4, something would be fun, a little SUV. I have a truck, I don't really like it, so I'd probably like to get something a little newer, so we'll see. Of course, a house very soon. But yeah, something like that would be fun.
And if I can take the liberty of taking Matt's bonus question, who gets the trophy? Like, how do you split custody? How does that work?
Good question. I hadn't thought of that.
So we still keep our collection together to this day, down in this refurbished garage, and so it would probably, in theory, stay with the collection. Whoever is able to kind of keep it at their place,
onto it,
or keep it all together.
We
Or
don't know what the future holds,
Yeah.
so we're going to be flexible. But
uncharted territory.
yeah, but we plan on keeping it together as best as we possibly can. So I assume the trophy will be the same way.
Shared. Yeah.
Sure. So obviously you got to do some insane challenges in season 2, but was there any challenge from season 1 that you really wish you would have gotten a chance to do?
Ooh, I know. Yeah, go ahead.
One for me would probably be the cut in half challenge, because you saw
Oh,
some
yeah.
really revolutionary designs spring from that very unique challenge. And I think it's like, a blank canvas can be somewhat challenging, but when you have to kind of mirror or even contrast something that's on the other half of your build, it seems really unique and fun to me. So that's one that I would like to be able to try at some point.
I was thinking about the cinema one, where you had to pick a theme and then you'd get another theme, and then with a twist in it halfway through. I think that'd actually be really fun, though I'm sure being there was probably worse, based on my
Very contrasting.
very good
plot lines.
contrasting. Yeah, in hindsight, it looks like fun, but I actually have to go with that one. That sounds better.
Cut in half challenge.
And Norm.
This question is super basic, but I'm very curious. Is the trophy glued together?
We have not received the trophy yet. We have not necessarily been promised a trophy, a physical one, but
We know that Tyler Kleitz got one in season 1.
Maybe we'll get one?
Well, there's a pretty good chance we're probably going to get one. And as far as we know, it is glued
mostly.
So it would
Because
just
we did
be
get to hold it for
solid piece.
a good minute.
If we received it unglued, we would leave it that way, but we have no problem with a glued
That's
trophy
fine.
either. So.
We would never take it apart either way.
Yeah.
You got to spend a lot of time, well, I'm assuming we get to see a lot of time talking to Will or to Amy and Jamie. Do you have any particular favorite moments with Amy and Jamie, or with Will, or both?
Favorite moments.
Okay, so obviously interacting with Caleb and Jacob and that rivalry was just a hoot. So, Will,
I know what you're talking
Will
about.
facilitating that was terrific. Did you have something particular on that?
More detail on that. That was actually a really fun moment. That banter between the floating islands was hilarious, because it was all conjured up by Will, of course. Yeah, he's looking for some fun. He's looking for
We
some
dove
trouble.
right into it.
We fell right into it. We thought this was so much fun. But he sparked it up by telling Caleb to yell at us, and that went on for about 10 minutes. And during that time, Amy and Jamie are trying to do their interview with Philip and Maria, and poor Jamie could not get a word out before Will or one of us were yelling back and forth. So finally, Philip, with his dad voice, said, "Hey, we're doing the interview over here." And then Will yells back, "You stand with Philip!" Where the whole place was yelling at each
The
other.
entire
for
set is
fun.
now dying of laughter, of course.
They're
So-
all cracking up because I'm calling them Four Eyes, and they're calling us, like overgrown,
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
exactly.
That was a really wonderful moment, and that was great with Will. That started so much fun throughout the challenge. But Amy and Jamie, here's one really cool story that you guys never got to see. But after the finale, all right, they're still wearing their suits and ball gowns. Amy and Jamie come to the holding area with us, Zach and Wayne, and Caleb and Jacob, and they just share some really, really encouraging stuff. They said, "You guys did such a good job. This is the best season of Lego Masters we've ever had. You guys are rock stars now. Enjoy the fame while it's here." They just said some really, really kind stuff along those lines.
And they had never come down to the
holding
cast area at all. They had their own area. They were kept separate because they're part of the judging process.
legally. So.
But now that it's done, they came and just said hi to us. That was like super cool. It's like royalty visiting the village, It's just really good. Yeah. The village.
Yeah, that was a really amazing moment, and I got to see it, but it was really cool.
Sure. So, from some of the earlier episodes, obviously you did a lot of really great, crazy builds. What would you say, were the builds that you were most proud of, besides your final build, let's say?
Well, honestly, my favorite is Burning the Bird-Dad Dragon, because, the character was so much fun. We won the challenge. It was just so charming, and we got to see, Steve Whitmire and everybody. That was insane. I do like the Floating Gnome Forest a lot. That's one I'm really proud of. I do also like the Toxic Titan. I like our car a lot as well. That was very playful.
So basically all of them.
All of them. But I do like Bernie and the Floating Gnome Forest. Those are very high on my list. What about you, bro?
I still go back to some of the early ones. The first episode with the big world serpent.
It's really good.
Really enjoyed that build. I would have liked a few more hours on that one though. And then the hat challenge. That's incredible. I thought I really had fun building that.
That was your moment.
That was kind of us getting back into the groove and actually getting some builds we were happy with.
That was the upswing. Yeah.
Yeah. Episode 2 and 3 we weren't so thrilled about. So yeah, those are some of my favorites.
How long into the competition did it take you to sort of like get used to being like building around like Will and Amy and Jamie and having cameras in your face? Did that create a problem at first, or was it just like focus on the Lego, don't think about anything else?
Yeah, the first episode we weren't like terrific public speakers going into this. You know,
No,
like all the
stuttering,
cameras, talking in front of a group of people. We were nervous, and first episode we just were like barely getting our story out for our build because we were so freaking out. But then by episode 2 and 3, I felt like we had gotten a lot more comfortable, less starstruck in front of Jamie, Amy,
but the
and Will.
builds were still suffering a bit.
We still hadn't gotten into the groove of building at that point. But yeah, so I think by episode 3 and especially 4, we really started coming into our own and feeling good about what we were doing.
Yeah, but I think it was definitely episode 5 when we won the Golden Brick. We had a brilliant story. I think that was like when we were like, all right, we're here. But I think it was the 4th one that really brought us to that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, those 2 especially, 4 and 5, I think were incredibly crucial for us. 4 was definitely a fun one for all of us. But yeah, that was a really interesting part. Those just before the first half was really interesting for everybody, I think.
So how were the 24 hours of the final build split up? How long in one go were you working before you got a break?
So we can't really remember if it was one way or the other, but I think it was 7, 8, and 9 hours spread over 3 days, or it was 9, 7, or 9, 8, and 7. We're not sure, but it's one of those. Spread over 3 days specifically, but it is 24 hours for sure.
With about a 30 or 40-minute lunch break. Any bathroom breaks or other breaks of that nature happen on the build time.
Yeah.
So it was
There was a lot of off-camera building, though. Quite a lot of off-camera building.
pretty much almost a day was done off camera.
Almost, yeah.
24 hours, they obviously can't cover all that in 1 hour.
Yeah. I don't know if they have a chip big enough to hold that much information with all those cameras, but no, they had to carve it up a bit, and that's how we pulled it off. Yeah.
It definitely seemed like there was a big cut while watching the episode, where all of a sudden all the builds got a lot further along.
There was a shift in the build for sure.
Oh, yeah,
like
for
you're going from, they're starting to build, and suddenly they're like a third of the way done.
We're putting the head on after a minute ago. We're finishing the legs. Yeah, it's crazy.
It came to my mind. I forgot about it. So last night you guys had your awesome build, and then the lights in the bottom. How did you manage to get that ambiance going on when they took the lights down? Like, how did you get that to work? I just racked my brain over it all night. I'm like, what did they do?
Right. Well, so it started out as something pretty simple, but ended up evolving into something a little more complex. The flat areas of water had these kind of string, almost like tiny Christmas lights, woven between the studs underneath to get the overall surfaces lit.
Under a snot water surface.
Yeah, the bricks turned on their sides to create that smooth surface. Behind the brick-built waterfalls, I was originally just going to have them illuminated with a normal light, but then I realized if those lights were moving, it would really set it off well. And so it had, I believe it was 4 motors behind each waterfall with a gear of the largest size gear we had access to. And on that was attached a light facing outwards away from the gear towards that waterfall that was behind. And the wire was then wired away and then all the way back around out of reach of the gear so that it could spin. And you're not seeing that wire in front of it. You're only seeing the light diffuse through the bricks. So it created, and when the light is spinning, it's only visible on its downward
So it's
motion.
tumbling water all the way down.
So it only seems as a repeating motion of light coming from the source up on the higher level of water up there. And then on the next plateau up, you had smaller lights that were programmed and patterned to blink. And
pre-programmed.
Yeah, so you plug them in and they kind of have a blinking, flickering texture. And that kind of helped accentuate the feet starting to step into that pond. So it looked like the bottom one was relatively smooth, but the top one, he had just stepped in. It was kind of rippling or troubling the water a little bit. So When you look down there, it's just like literally moving and glowing to try and really look like it's a still piece, but it looks like it's completely alive and waterproof.
And to add to that, we had the Technic Lights in his eyes, the brightest ones we could get, 3 in each eyeball. So they were very bright. You could see him across the hallway.
We also had his legs very illuminated.
Yes. I put translucent green elements, like little veins going through his body. And we took some green fairy lights, very similar, if not identical to the ones in the water, but they were green instead of whitish blue. And we put those through, like just crammed them into his legs and body.
Structure.
Yeah, it was only about 3 studs wide at any spot in his body. It was basically a hollow character. Yeah. We just shoved the lights in there, and we had a few lights on the back trees, a few in the characters, like the fireflies and the frogs. The fireflies are behind him on the right, the frog is on the front left, and the moving branches. It was just everything came together so nicely.
It was incredible. I couldn't get over that. It was incredible, and I had no idea it was that complex. So kudos to you guys. So that'll wrap up the lovely interview with Mark and Steven here, the winners of season 2, Lego Masters United States. And proper kudos to them for all their hard work. Golf claps all around. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. A lot of interesting questions, a lot of interesting information that they presented. And, you know, it was one of those things. Some contestants, you know, they take forever to answer a question. Zach and Wayne. And then you have others that are more succinct in the case of Mark and Steven, and you end up having more time because they're booked, I believe, for 30 minutes. So they had way more time to answer more questions. So that's what the kind of chaos was at the end. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed what you heard from them, because they are master builders in this case. So until next time, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.